Righty, hello everyone. I'm Mike Tarallo. Good to see you all, or hear you all, or good to be here, however you want to phrase it. I have Ouadie Limouni with me as well. Say hello, Ouadie.
Hey everyone, good to be
So,
here.
so today, we're going to start a few minutes after the hour. This session is really going to be covering a recap and what's possible. And Ouadie is with me today. He is our senior developer on our demo team. And Ouadie has been with us before, and he's showcased a number of great examples. So I'm going to do my thing, and then Ouadie's going to do his thing. And we're just going to kind of go with the flow, a little ad hoc, show some getting started capability as well. Ouadie's really going to focus on the art of the possible with, everything that I show in the beginning and how we could take it to the next level with integration and embedded capabilities with other technologies. So it covers the whole gamut on the analytics side. Please understand that I am not covering anything on Qlik Talon data integration. That is something that I'm going to mention when I, officially start the webinar. We do have another Do More with Qlik series that has started with another team that does cover data integration. They do things a little differently. They don't do it live. They do it what's called Simul Live, which is kind of like recorded, but there's live Q&A and people can answer, but the actual presentation's been pre-recorded. Okay, you guys should be seeing our slide. Ouadie, since I did invite you sort of, last minute, I didn't have a chance to update. I didn't do any, official intros. You can do your intro when you start if you like. Okay, so today is basically a recap and getting started, covering a lot of what's possible with Qlik Cloud Analytics. And I wanted to kind of like formulate it as, a season recap, right? If anybody's watching Game of Thrones or The Boys or House of Dragon or, any of those shows on Netflix or Prime or what have you, they always have a previously on, right? Possibly things that you missed, things that you should know before, getting started, so to speak. So you're kind of like in the know of what's going on. So that's kind of like what I'm formulating this webinar to be about. Future webinars are going to be a little bit more on topic as well as we start to release more capabilities, features, functionality within the product line that happens later this year. A lot of that stuff was also mentioned at our customer and partner event, Connect. So we'll be covering some of that as well. Okay, so previously on Qlik, today's episode, I'm going to show you a lot of capabilities. Ouadie and I are going to show out of the box, embedded, quickly getting started. You're basically going to see the art of the possible and a brief business scenario around order fulfillment and tracking logistics before we move into some of those other examples. And then a couple things that I want you to know about real quick. Education-wise, we are going to pass links in the chat. They're running a promotion. 20% off Qlik Continuous Classroom subscriptions and 30% off public classroom training. That information is available at the link I will provide later within the chat as well. And then again, mentioning that Do More with Qlik has expanded to cover data integration as well. And just stay tuned for links and announcements within the social sphere that cover those capabilities. All right, so let's just get on with it. What I'm going to do next is share my new screen. Now you should be seeing screen number 2. Oh, you're seeing, no, hold on one second. Ouadie, you should see the Qlik screen, the Qlik training screen.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, good. Yeah, because these control panels for Zoom are bouncing all over, but you got to see what's happening. It's hilarious. Okay. So this is the link that I'm going to share with you guys in the chat in regards to the promotion for Qlik training, and everyone should see that. And then Ouadie's going to be posting some links later to some of the work that he is doing as well. A couple other things to make mention of: SAS and 60 playlist in the Qlik YouTube channel, as well as Do More with Qlik Tips and Tricks Edition. And the archive of all of these recordings are also available for you to view. So keep that in mind. If you're not sure where to go, just go to YouTube and look for Qlik, and it'll be on the homepage in the playlists. Okay. Okay, so we're going to get started with an example of a order fulfillment manager or an order fulfillment rep utilizing Qlik in his day-to-day activities. Okay, so basically depending on where anyone starts their day, right? You start on a mobile device, you start within email. That's pretty much how I start my day. I have my phone, I have my email, I check on the day's activities. Qlik has the capability of providing alerts either through mobile, offline capability on a mobile device as well, or through email or even through Teams and notifications utilizing our application automation. There's a number of ways that you could inform somebody of changes and events that are occurring in your data or as they happen. In this example here, we just have an alert showing me that we have canceled orders that have triggered over $2,000, and that is of concern of me. So a concern of mine. So at this point, I'm interested in learning more about this. So where can we go from here? This all depends on where you work. Okay, Qlik works where and how you work. Okay, so if you wanted to jump right into the app and log into a dashboard and start analyzing data to get more answers to your questions, you can do that. If you did not want to jump into an app, maybe you wanted to have a conversation with your data, we have complete capability to integrate with MS Teams. Everybody's in MS Teams. I know everybody in my organization is in MS Teams to this day. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to have a conversation with your data and colleague so you can collaborate and get the answers you need? So immediately from here, I'm just going to start a post and I'm going to initiate the Qlik bot. And you can see the Qlik bot has responded, wishing me the same as a greeting for my morning well wish. And I'm going to start typing in just a question because we were alerted about our orders that were canceled. Now I want to see the number of orders canceled. So I type in Qlik total orders canceled, and we get an answer. We have a total number of orders, 35, that have been canceled. A little bit of concern to me to know why, I want to learn a little bit more about this. So I'm going to start asking additional questions. So from here, I want to look at the orders by the product and the reps that are responsible for fulfilling those orders that were canceled. So I add a little bit more detail into that question. Right here, I'm using natural language queries posed to the Qlik engine and based off of a particular app that's been configured to receive my questions. The AI assistant, in this case, the Insight Advisor assistant, is formulating those responses and putting them directly into MS Teams. We call this democratizing data analytics, if you will. In other words, we're making it available to more people in ways who might not be familiar with accessing analytics through dashboards, for example, or utilizing certain apps on a mobile device. So this is something that's very familiar to them. Okay, so that's the other thing to keep in mind. When you're trying to get additional insights about your business and ask additional questions, you want more people to use that and have access to that. How do you make it available to them? Through something that they're familiar with, in this case, like MS Teams. So here we can see that total orders by rep and product name, John Doe. We have Stuart Little, Steve Smith, Francine Leonard, and Stan Griffin. These are all the reps. These are all the orders. And we can see these are the orders of the status that were canceled. Okay, so we could explore this further by going directly into the dashboard, but I want to ask additional questions because now I'm suspect on the lead time for these open orders by these reps. So now I'm looking at a correlation of orders, total orders, and lead time, right? Two numerics by a dimension rep for the status of open. And here now we have a scatter plot that looks at a correlation. Okay, so Insight Advisor's providing the best visualization to provide me that answer. And immediately by looking at the outlier, John Doe, he's got almost 25 orders that are open with a high lead time, which is over 30 days. So he's the individual I want to focus on right now because he's the outlier in that scatter plot. And you can see average lead time is about 30 days with total orders open 27, where order status is open. So you have narrative insights, natural language generation coming back to you as well in this interface. So at this point, I want to collaborate with my colleague. So I'm bringing John Doe into the team, right? This is a team channel that's been set up for order fulfillment. So now we're asking John Doe, and we can see John Doe is typing. And based off of the response that's come back, he asked the question in regards to gross sales. He's asking gross sales and lead time by product for himself, where the status is open. And now we can see the correlation of the lead time and the gross sales. And immediately my outliers are looking at the Samsung refrigerator here, as well as this Wi-Fi enabled television. Okay, and you can see for the rep, John Doe and open. So John Doe's got a number of open orders with high lead times and significant gross sale value. So at this point, I got enough insight to now focus on the particular products, the particular rep, and possibly start providing additional queries into my application to try to uncover what's going on here. So here we just tell John Doe, thank you very much. I got what I need, and now I'm going to explore this further. So by exploring this further, this is now bringing me into my Qlik Cloud Analytics application. And this brings me directly into Insight Advisor with the question that was posed. So now we're seeing this from the perspective of an application through the Insight Advisor interface. So the question was automatically passed, and now we have this natural language question and search capability that I could jump into and start asking additional questions. I could actually add this to my sheet and start creating a dashboard with this content, and I could look at additional information and additional suggested insights. Okay, so that's another value here. Value and benefit that's coming back here is integrating directly with Qlik Cloud Analytics and then allowing me to save this information for later viewing that I can create within my dashboard. I'm just going to clear this question, and I can see I have a number of search history or example questions to help prompt additional insight. So here I want to look at maybe total orders by product this year versus last year. How many orders were aged more than 120? How many canceled orders? How many open orders? How many orders by order status? Total orders fulfilled this year. I could ask any of these particular questions, typing in natural language, and the responses will come back as such. And now we're looking at total orders versus orders fulfilled over time, and I could add that to my sheet as well. So that is natural language query or natural language search directly within its advisor. Now what I'm interested in is actually creating some brand new analytics directly from my analysis types. And analysis types is a quick way for those who might not be familiar with an analytics type, how to get answers to the information they're looking for. So calculated measures, ranking, geospatial, breakdown, overview, trends, comparisons, importance, relative importance, etc. This will actually guide you. In this case, I'm going to select comparison. And comparison is going to perform like a correlation. And here I can select, for example, let's look at total orders unfulfilled, because we are aware of those unfulfilled orders. And I also want to look at components that are on hand. And I want to look at this by component name. And this will automatically not only guide me, but also provide me with information. Let me clear my selections here, because selections are maintained across. Okay, and from here, looking at the scatter plot, immediately looking at some of these outliers, here's the number of components that are on hand for the orders. In other words, these are the component parts that make up the product that's being ordered. And we can see we have LED red component is on hand is equal to 0. Okay, so right over here, this is a particular suspect. If I wanted to see how many of these orders that have been opened, I can go to global search, type in the word open. And what this does is look at all of my values and my dimensions and allows me to pick a value that I'm interested in to provide a filter that, for example, if I didn't know where to start, this helps guide me in providing the values and dimensions, right? So we have order status, we have product name, bottle opener, wine opener. There's an image field that we could probably not index and not even have that displayed in this case here, but order status open is what we're looking for. And now it narrows down my result, for example, for those particular orders. But what we uncovered here now is that we have an LED, red LED component, and that is inventory is on hand is 0, okay? Which now is part of my analysis and this uncover of this particular query that I looked into. Okay, so that's analysis types and Insight Advisor. So what we're going to do now is just switch off Insight Advisor, and I'm going to navigate my sheets, and we're going to look at an at-a-glance view. And this at-a-glance view is just basically demonstrating the look, the feel that is possible, and Ouadie's going to show you some more of those examples, but basically how you can lay out your KPIs and your metrics, right? So this gives me a holistic view of some of my key performance indicators: gross sales, canceled sales, unrealized revenue, discounts, open orders, in stock, out of stock, pretty much, you know, aggregating and combining data from multiple different systems, ERM, CRM type sources, inventory sources, and bringing it all together to create this holistic view that I can then analyze. And in this case, what I call get an at-a-glance view. I can see that I have canceled sales. Well, we have a nice, interesting feature here called key driver analysis, where we can now uncover and look at important features, which are like your field values, for example, the data values in your data, that can be responsible, or what's driving, for example, these canceled sales, using the power of our predictive modeling and AI capability that is built in. I can right-click on any of these KPIs, select key driver analysis, and then my target, in other words, what we're looking at is the canceled sale value. And then here I can choose some additional features. So features are just the field values that we want to look at. So for example, maybe it's a logistics problem between territory or country that's driving these canceled sales. Maybe it is a particular component within the product that is driving these canceled sales, or maybe it is the specific lead time, how long it's taking, that's driving some of these canceled sales. So I select these important features that have the influence that I'm looking for. I click Start Analysis, and you can see the analysis is ready to view. I click on View. I click on my analysis for canceled sales, and immediately it shows top key drivers, component name, campaign, territory, and lead time. So in other words, the component name is the top influence, which accounts for 90% of that influence between component name, campaign, territory. And then at the same time, you can see if we drilled in for component name, the LED red component, which is relative importance. This is what we call the explainability, showing you the why behind the data. And this is now validating part of my findings that the low inventory of the LED red component is a key driver behind our canceled sales. So I'm going to navigate next to another example. And here we are in our standard traditional dashboard. Again, looking at some holistic view, but now we're going to uncover some additional selections. Now, anything that I've shown you so far can be completely highlighted, selected, provide additional insights just by point and clicking, but we also can clear these selections, navigate these selections. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because many of you might have seen this already before, but we also could then switch off the insights panel and now look at our additional values that we want to analyze on. So at this point, I'm suspect on open orders. I want to see what other orders have that LED red component and who else might be affected. With the associative engine, you can see here visually, when I selected open, I can see that Francine, John, and Steve are highlighted in white, which basically means that these are the reps that have open orders. So immediately from one selection and looking at this visual reference, the orders that are highlighted, the reps that are highlighted in white are related, and the reps that are highlighted in dark gray are not. So Stan and Stuart do not have any open orders. So this information is still in my view. It's not eliminated from my perspective by simply looking at the visualization cues in the color scheme that you see here for reps. Now I wanted to take this one step further. I want to narrow it down to region 3. And now I can see the products related to my selections. And what do we see also? We have a coffee maker for John Doe in region 3 that is of order status open, and lo and behold, it has a red LED. Well, what does that make me think of? Well, let's select the red LED and let's clear region 3 and let's see what other reps and other products are affected. And with a simple point and click selection, I can also see now Steve Smith has a number of products that have red LEDs that are most likely or at risk for cancellation due to high lead times because of this component shortage. So just another quick example. Cup. Ouadie, you still with me?
Yep, I can hear it.
Okay, yeah, just my session just died on me for a second. Screen share still working?
Yep.
All right, good.
Yeah, we can see the sheet.
Yeah, no, it's coming back. It's just, I just had a network hiccup on my side. It happens. So through the use of the associative difference and associative engine and the color scheme of green, white, and gray, it helps me uncover and answer questions that maybe I did not think of asking originally. It also shows insights that I might not have been aware of, such as what other reps are involved, what other products have LEDs. So now we have more insight into this. So what I'm going to do at this time is now I know that we need at least, so let's clear Steve. And we see we need at least 27 LED parts needed for this particular orders, for these orders to be fulfilled. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place the order. And from the list of different components here, I'm going to make sure I have LED red selected. I'm going to type in 27, or maybe we should order a little extra, and click order. And this is actually kicking off an application automation job in the back end to send a notification to my purchase order department, as well as send information in the form of an email. And it also did some write back to my database. Now you can see we have 50 on hand in the LED component. Okay. A lot of this, what I've shown you, has also been in a recorded fashion in some shape or form in a lot of webinars and videos as well. This is one of those examples now showing you write back capability, as well as the ability to integrate with other systems. Okay. And two more things to wrap up this before I spend some time with the getting started. I'm going to navigate over to our predictive dashboard. Okay, and we're going to be using the power of AutoML, which has a predictive model created underneath it. And we can talk more about that in detail. If you've already attended this webinar in the past, you've already seen a lot of what happens under the covers with AutoML, but this is going to use our real-time predictions API as well, which is going to provide additional insight in some form of what-if scenarios running that predictive model. So currently we're looking at original cancellation is 26.8%. Number of orders predicted to cancel are 12. We have 27 total open orders. The percentage of orders predicted to cancel is 44%. Okay, so we have some parameters on the side that we can adjust because we want to lower that prediction. Now, in order to do this, I have to select a particular order. I'm going to look at the predicted to cancel, which is the explainability here. You can see that inventory and lead time have been predicted as feature importance, the highest feature importance in regards to being responsible for predictive orders to cancel. I'm going to select a particular order, and we can see that order has a 70.2% chance of cancellation. So if we increased our inventory level, let's say to high, we can reduce that cancellation down to 27%. And if we probably reduced our lead time, let's say about 40 days or so, we can see that cancellation, drops to about 5%. Okay, so this is just a quick example of taking that predictive model and integrating it with your Qlik app and making it part of the analysis capability, taking advantage of the predictive model created by AutoML. Okay, and then finally, we're going to switch over to one fun example of integration with generative AI. In this case, it could be integrated with OpenAI, could be integrated with Amazon Bedrock, could be Hugging Face by Meta, or it could be Meta. There's a number of different integration connectors that can work with our connectors for AI integrations. ChatGPT, OpenAI, as I mentioned. In this case, this is actually using Anthropic Claude from Amazon Bedrock. So for this to work, now we have some limits on the amount of data. Now understand, when using generative AI connectors, you have to purchase tokens and you have to understand how the verbosity works and how data comes back. There's a number of different parameters, which is beyond the scope of this presentation. So I have some limits set up where I'm actually saying, in order to put in a question, we're going to select a fulfillment rep, we're going to choose an order status, and we're going to choose a particular region, okay, just to reduce the amount of data that is sent. And then we're going to ask a particular question here, such as, what is the consumer sentiment for these products? Okay, and this is based on the reviews provided. Here's the overall consumer sentiment for each of the products. The bottle opener, positive; clothes hanger, dishwasher, dryer, electric. So sentiment, the review mentioned it slices through meats and breads effortlessly. So this is taking the large language model capability. We're sending data to Anthropic Claude, and that model is analyzing that data and returning the results back to me, as you've seen here. Okay, there's some tips and tricks on how to do this, but remember, guys, at the end of the day, we are really just sending data and prompts to the connector, and then the connector's response is coming back to our interface and being displayed as you see here. Here's one more. Just say which products have a positive rating of 4 or higher. And you can see here the cocktail shaker, cutting board, dish scrubber, blah, blah, blah. These products will have a review rating of 4 or higher. Okay, so you can integrate custom prompts, selections from the associative engine, send that over to generative AI, and get additional insights into data using the power of large language models. Okay, so that's all I wanted to show you. Out of the box capability, integrate a number of different capabilities that are possible that either you may or may not be using, and maybe you should be using. Okay, it'd be interesting to know, based off of what I've shown, how much of that are you using today? And if you guys want to respond in the chat with the percentage, I showed, let's just say from A to B was 100%. Are we using 50% of that, 20% of that, 30%? Are you just using dashboards? Are you using Insight Advisor, et cetera? It'd be interesting to know. Okay, so the next step I'm going to switch over to is a quick, let's see, let's do a, I want to switch over to, we'll do the getting started piece just to show you how quickly it is to create something. And then I'll do the embedded piece, and then we'll switch over to you, Ouadie. So about another 10 minutes or so. Okay. So what we're going to do next, let me switch over to my next system and make sure my session is active. So here I'm in Qlik Cloud Analytics. I'm going to make a mention here for those that are on this call. There are going to be some improvements. There are going to be more improvements coming to the Qlik Cloud Analytics Hub. So stay tuned for that. We'll make sure we have announcements in the appropriate message, but certain pieces of navigation and UI components might change, menu options might change. So what I'm showing you here right now might not necessarily be what it looks like 3 months from now. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your head. So right now I'm in the Qlik Cloud Analytics Hub. Okay, this is where I can navigate all of the pieces of my content, which are apps or job flows, application automation, data integration jobs, data components. Again, I have all this covered in the basics in our Do More with Qlik webinar series. What I want to do right now is just go in and just show how quickly it is we can create an analytics app. I'm going to call this one Getting Started 2024. And we're going to put it in the space called Do More with Qlik and click Create. So you guys get to see this from start to finish. No smoke and mirrors. I'm going to access, in this case, a data file that is available for me in Dropbox. There's a number of different connectors that are available to connect you to your data. I'm going to select my Getting Started Excel file because this is obviously the quickest way to demonstrate this capability. Select my sheet. I'm not going to rename my columns. I'm just going to select all the columns, keep everything by default, and click Next. And this basically now associates that data directly within my app. And immediately I can choose to explore the data if I have a question or create new analytics. Let's just click Explore the Data. And without making any modifications to our business logic model or working with Insight Advisor, there are some customizations. I'm just going to use the default. So if I'm just going to say, so let's just actually even say sales this year. Okay, so this is showing you sales over date. So here's our sales 2024. Insights found, the total sales is 87,000. The maximum is 7,000. The minimum is 55. Sales have been gradually changing over time when range of value. Additional natural language generation insights, and I could add this to my sheet if I wanted to, right? So I didn't make any changes to business logic, which is the underlying layer where you can customize the type of responses that come back. This is just immediately out of the box. I could also go directly, as I mentioned, I could add this to my new sheet. I could ask additional questions. I could turn this off. I can go into, for example, ranking. I can select sales. And I can choose product name. And we can see the product name, additional insights. I can add that to my sheet. turn off Insight Advisor, and now those two insights or KPIs or charts have been added to my sheet. I'm going to click on Edit Sheet. I'm going to right-click and add this to my master items. Right-click on this chart, add to master items. What this does is now add these as reusable visualizations into my library. I'm going to select my sheet, click on Styling, turn off Background, go to Media Library, and we're going to add a background image from my temp files. We could say always fit. We can say fit to height, fit to weight, fit to width. I apologize. And now we have a little styling on our sheet. I'm going to go to my custom objects, go to my dashboard bundle, grab my layout container. The layout container is an object that allows you to perform freeform and grouping of content. So now I'm adding the pieces of content from my master items. And now I'm going to style these particular pieces of that content if I wanted to. So for example, select my content, edit properties, presentation, styling. You can change your fonts, your colors, all that type of stuff here. Line thickness. Let's just put this into like a dark mode, if we will. Same thing with the charts. And all of this could be controlled by themes. So what you see me doing here is point and click styling and capabilities that are available out of the box. If you wanted to customize this even further, there is a session that I covered on themes that you could apply as well, but we're reducing the amount of coding that you would need to do with a lot of the styling capabilities that are now available. The one thing that is a little different here that I am going to mention is that, for example, coloring in charts, for example, are outside of styling. They're underneath, there's a colors and legend option, and that's because it's a data value. So here I'm just going to change the bar to white, and I'm going to click done. I'm also going to change the style of the presentation, and you'll notice here I can do like a border radius. Border radius, I could add a shadow. And then if I wanted to take this, I could unlink the visualization, copy the style, right click, unlink this visualization because it's part of the container now, and then paste the style. And then position these how I want within my container. And that's just a quick example of just laying pieces out and styling some charts very quickly with the new styling capabilities and the layout container object. Now, just to give you a couple of quick examples of this, if you're familiar with one of our partners, he goes by the name Tennessee. Tensini. He created a Street Fighter dashboard. A very creative and fun example, embedding a lot of the different components and capabilities within our platform. And this is, looking at different statistics of the fighters that are available. Each one of these graphics, for example, is a button. And now we're looking at Ryu. Here's Luke, and here's the statistics, and this is all data fed. So you really are limited by your imagination on how you can style and create these dashboards. Okay. Before I switch it over to Ouadie, I'm also going to show you that everything that has been created, here's an example on another tenant. Let me just log into this tenant. And this example has been shared with me by our Italy pre-sales team, specifically Giacomo and Baptiste. I would like to thank them again for helping me get the embedded version of this on my system. So there's a number of different KPIs and metrics that are available out of the box that I'm navigating that cover a tracking and logistic scenario or a business use case. I've taken this example that they provided me and put it on my system. So using the power of Node.js, if you will, and our embedded technologies. So this is an example of VS Code, and these are all of the packaged application pieces that are running under here. If I go to source and I go to insights and I go to TMS, for example, these are all just web pages that have our embedded API in it. And that's going to look like this. Okay, and you can see here I'm running locally 127.0.0.1.2.3.4. This is my server. I'm actually connected and running this here, and you can see that directly within the terminal window here, right? The HTTPS server is listening, and that's the there's two terminals here. One's the web page and one's the actual embedded app example. So imagine you're on a website, go to Qlik Analytics, and now you have a website that shows all of your insights into a page that is familiar to you, that you're already familiar with and understand how to use and navigate, and all of the capabilities of selections and so forth are all integrated in automatic. So if I navigate to transport and supply, and I'm looking at historical data and KPIs. Again, this is now just examples of this information being embedded into a web application, but it's not just charts. It's also alerts and even conversational analytics. Okay, so here, if I just say, what are my sales? This is our Insight Advisor being embedded into an app. If I want to say, what are my sales by channel? And this is obviously a simulated version, but this is showing you what's possible. There we go. Total sales is 84 million. Top channel is store with sales. So the stuff that I've showed you through MS Teams can also be integrated into your own chat-like interface. Okay, so this brief scenario here is also utilizing AutoML predictive analytics. We're looking at current stock. We have forecasted revenue loss, safety stock value. We can see remaining stock per country, Italy, Belgium, United Kingdom. This particular example here, I'm looking at touring bikes. If I select touring bikes, we can see that Germany has 19, France has 2, United Kingdom -7, -9, and -14. So even if we wanted to transfer bikes from Germany to the rest of these countries, there isn't enough here. So we just have to place a traditional order for that. So I'm going to look at the next loss per product, in this case, mountain bikes. And by looking at mountain bikes, we can see we have the United Kingdom has 28, Belgium 17, Italy 17, Germany has 7. And in this case here, we're looking at out of stock risk for France. So it looks like the United Kingdom and Belgium or Italy can sacrifice some of their inventory here for France. So what we're going to do is we're going to see what the best route to take is utilizing our geospatial analytics. And we're going to look at the fastest route. And by looking at the fastest route, and we can select the different lead times, we'll look for better lead time. For example, here, London to Paris is 6 hours and 37. And we can see the different current stock numbers. This one's 3 hours. So from here, from Brussels to Paris, in this case here, is going to be probably the best quicker lead time or the faster lead time. And you see here what it does is it actually selects France and selects Belgium. The quantity we want in this case here is current stock coverage 17. So we'll just put in 17 for now and click ask for delivery. And this is actually now running a process that is going to update our inventory and provide Paris with the needed inventory and provide alerts as well. Okay, Ouadie, whenever you're ready.
Sounds good. All right, thank you, Mike. That was amazing. So yeah, so I guess what I'm gonna do is just really a follow-up on what Mike just covered. Try to share with you a really quick demo just to show what you can do with embedding, specifically how easy it is with some of these new libraries that just came out, but also share some examples that I think are very cool and can probably inspire you into kind of jazzing up your dashboards a little bit. So let me share my screen quick. Awesome. And not sure if Mike had covered this, but if you're into embedding or bringing Qlik into your web applications, then qlik.dev is really the place to go to for documentation, for quick tutorials, and just quick guides into getting started with some of these APIs and libraries that will let you embed Qlik into your web solutions. And also going to take advantage of the webinar and share with you some of the blog posts I've written before. These, I think, will help you kind of understand the basics behind embedding, creating custom charts and visualizations, not only as extensions in your Qlik Sense apps, but also in your web apps. So anything from using the APIs like the Insight Advisor API or the AutoML Real-Time API, to understanding libraries, the Qlik libraries like Enigma JS or Nebula JS, which are libraries created by Qlik to help you integrate Qlik into your web apps or web solutions. You might know it as mashups, but we're trying to move away from that term, and really it's very powerful. You can create full-fledged web apps with this. So there's a lot of blog posts in here tackle how you can integrate third-party libraries as well, like D3JS, which is a charting and visualization library. So there's a lot here. Gonna try and paste all of this in the chat. It's probably gonna come in 3 chunks or 3 groups of links, and let me know if you can see those.
I got them.
Well, 2 chunks, I guess, because I could paste in those 2.
And Ouadie, we'll also include these in the follow-up email that goes out. So I'll make sure to grab these, and
Awesome.
everyone who gets a follow-up email will have them.
Cool. Yeah, so give those a quick read. They'll really, I try to simplify the concepts and get you started in a simple fashion. But like I said, documentation on qlik.dev, that's really where it's at. It's updated regularly, so check that out as well. So yeah, so like Mike said, there's a lot that can be done in a Qlik Sense app right now. So you no longer are limited to creating normal dashboards that are clean, looking like this, but you can really do some custom stuff. So whether it's through theming or even with the new capabilities that are coming into actual objects or charts, where you can use the settings to change colors, background images, anything really, you can turn something like this into this, for instance. So here I'm leveraging custom fonts, new capability like the background images and so on, different colors, to really jazz up the dashboard and make it look a little bit more well, more fun, I would say. So yeah, so there's a lot going on the things are advancing very fast. So new capabilities that have just been released or will continue to release will let you really take normal looking dashboards into something like this. And I have a colleague called Ivan Felipe. He's over in Spain, and he's done some amazing work on just trying to create dashboards that look like really web UIs. I'll show you here some of these example in a second. So for instance, this Tesla app, see how like he's moving from a normal dashboard like grid like into something more fun that would probably make you think it's a web app, but we're all still in Qlik sense here. Udemy, I'm not sure if you're familiar with a course platform, but you'll see here how he has different things that make you think it's that platform. So and just a quick disclaimer, some of these things are out of the box Qlik objects and settings and features. Some of them are custom made extensions that he had worked on and brought into Qlik. So Netflix example here, YouTube, I did not mistakenly gone to youtube.com, but this is actually in Qlik sense. You'll see he has a sidebar, and this is fully functional. These are selections, everything on the dashboard moves, you can scroll and so on. So pretty cool examples. This Spotify one as well. So there's a lot that can be done. That's really the idea I'm trying to get across here. So so that's cool. My next part probably will be about covering embedding. So with embedding, there's a lot of tools that you can use. So whether you're like a seasoned developer or someone more advanced with web technologies, you can embed using the older capabilities API, Nebula and Enigma, which are, like I said, Qlik libraries, open source libraries, or even the new Qlik embed. So Qlik embed, that's what I'm going to cover in a few here, is a library that will let you embed either entire apps or Qlik Sense experiences into your web app or websites, or just specific charts. So you'll see here, I'm on my tenant here. I have a very simple sheet for demo purposes, and I want to embed this into my web app. So let me bring in the code for that. Here I'm moved to my text editor, and you'll see I have a very simple HTML page, nothing more than 70 lines of code or so. This is just some CSS, so I'm gonna collapse this, but you'll see that when I collapse that, it's really simple. Qlik embed is a powerful library, and it lets you get up and running very quick. So all you need to do is reference the library itself through a script tag. You enter in some settings, and like I said, everything here is covered on those blog posts or qlik.dev for very detailed documentation. So our tenant URL, our or client ID here that you get from your management console on the tenant. These are all settings that you would need to put on your console. But once you have all the settings done and there, all you need is to include the script tag right here, and then reference the Qlik embed web component. So what I'm left here to do is really just enter in the app ID. So I'll go back to my sheet here, or my tenant, and copy this app ID, go back to my code editor, paste in the app ID, give it a save. And if I go now to this index OAuth app, with just those couple lines of code, I'll get the entire Qlik Sense app embedded in here. Now this will come in with everything. So you can browse through sheets, you have access to Insight Advisor and everything as if you are in Qlik Sense, which is pretty cool. Now I can also just decide, sorry. I can also just embed a single object. So say I want to embed this object. I'll go grab the object ID here. So that's this guy. And then if I go back to, I'm going to move away from this HTML page into something similar, but this one just embeds the object itself. So very similar setup. In the web component, I moved from classic app, which embeds the entire QlikSense client, into something called analytics chart. So it's just a single object. Give that a save, go back here, and then I'll go to this guy, and you'll see I only have my chart here. And this has the full selection and associative engine into it. So imagine if you have multiple charts like this in your website, you can really build a full analytics web page out of this. And well, keep in mind that there are some authorization hurdles or process that you need to take care of. And Qlik Embed will let you go through this. So for instance, in here, this is using Ouadie. So I'm forced to go and log into the tenant, but there's also something called Ouadie impersonation, which lets you do something more anonymously. So if I go here and open up an incognito window, for instance, here, and I'm not logged into the tenant on this window, it's pretty brand new incognito window, and I go to my site here, I'll go to this impersonation app HTML page, and you'll see that the app is just gonna show up here. I did not log in or anything. Everything was done behind the scenes through that Ouadie impersonation, and I get access to the app again. So like I said, there's some setup that needs to be done, especially when it comes to Auth. But once you have that done, like for instance here using Ouadie 2, but getting the access token through a little backend I have running behind the scenes and so on. But once you have the setup done, it's as easy as plugging in this Qlik Embed web component into your website, and you'll have access to objects from Qlik. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. That's really for someone who's just wanting to embed pre-built objects or entire apps into web pages, but you can do more than that. So I'm going to run through a few other examples that we've built previously. So these are web pages using either just simple HTML, JavaScript, CSS, or other front-end frameworks like React or Angular or something. So the idea is there is no limit into what you can or cannot embed into your web application. So for instance here, these are all powered by Qlik. This is Qlik data coming in. I'm using a combination here of the Enigma library from Qlik, the Nebula library, which gives you the ability to embed charts, but also Picasso.js, another library from Qlik that's kind of the basis of the Nebula objects. So you can go into very, very custom settings into these libraries to end up with something that's probably won't find out of the box in the Qlik objects. So this waffle chart, for instance, keep in mind that this is all using Qlik selections, so you have access to that. This swarm chart, again, you can go crazy with animations and so on. I think I have a blog post with covering interpolation here. So really cool stuff. You can end up with custom looking web pages that all are powered by Qlik and its tools in the background. Yeah. So next is another example I want to share with you, which kind of mimics a telecommunication provider website. And here, what I'm going to do is leverage AutoML's real-time API, which you can read more about it on the help site, or I think qlik.dev as well. So once you go ahead. Right. So once you have an AutoML model or experiment configured and deployed, you'll have access to a API URL, which you can use in your website to basically make a call to your AutoML model and make real-time predictions available inside your website. So here I'm just going to go through this form flow. This is the point of view of a user trying to get the best plan or the best phone plan from this provider. I'm just going to do PA. Next, let's say I use 272 560 gigabytes of data a month. Preferred price, I'll keep it low, hopefully. Next, and so what this does right now is actually send in a fetch request to that AutoML Real-Time API. It run it once, gave us the predicted plan for this user, and then run it another time to give us the predicted monthly payment. So this is all talking to the Qlik platform in the backend, making those real-time predictions available in your website. So pretty cool stuff. Next is probably my last example here, is kind of tying it all together. So another web app, it has a little bit of everything. So this is again, data is all coming from a Qlik Sense app. This is all powered by Qlik, but I'm using third-party libraries as well as Nebula JS charts here. So here, this is a D3JS map. You'll see I have full access to everything. Every change I make here are selections in the Qlik Sense app. You can also go ahead and do scrolly telling experiences. So for instance, as I scroll here, new charts are coming in. Associative engine is working here, so I make selection. I can exclude. So again, this is another chart here from D3JS. And lastly, I can also include what Mike just showed earlier, a reference to an LLM model. For instance, here, Amazon Bedrock, that has context of my Qlik app and my data to put prompts in here and get some generative AI content in here, as well as an access to the Insight Advisor right from your website. So this is leveraging the Insight Advisor API, and I can literally ask a question here. This makes a call to the Insight Advisor engine, gets back a recommendation. I can just render it right then and there using, again, Nebula JS or something. So that kind of ties it all together. There's a lot of examples, but my hope is that you get inspired from this. You know what can be done. And like Mike said, really the only limit is your imagination at this point. So if you're interested in any of these examples or a how-to, just let me know. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on Qlik community or simply email me. So
Perfect.
Yep.
That is a very good point, and that's something I'd like to bring up. So we have a couple of Q&A. Ouadie, excellent work as always. I had been addressing a lot of the Q&A live through the chat. So now there's an opportunity, if anybody has any questions that they'd like addressed at this time, if you would like to type them in, please let us know.